Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. I'm going to be doing a review this evening. Now, earlier this evening I did a video surrounding my thoughts on animal cruelty, so if you haven't checked that one out, please do so. I'll greatly appreciate it. So it's one of the rare days where I get time to do two videos in one night, so hopefully you're not sick of me yet, and you get some value out of this review. So this is an American horror/thriller, English language, released in the year 1986, directed by Robert Harmon, and this movie is called The Hitcher. And The Hitcher, the story is as follows. Young Jim Halsey is crossing the Californian desert alone in his car. To cure his boredom and sleepiness, he takes a hitchhiker on board, John Ryder, who turns out to be a strange and disturbing character. It's the beginning of a nightmare for Jim, who finds himself trapped in a game designed to push him to the very limits. So it surrounds this young man who is driving in the remote areas of the desert, and he is very bored and he's getting sleepy. So there's not much to do except drive a straight line. But this is where he comes across a very strange hitchhiker. Now, he sees it as company and that it would be a good thing, but it turns out it's anything but good. It actually turns into a nightmare when Jim, the main character, realizes that the hitchhiker named John Ryder turns out to be a psychopath, and he is making Jim's life hell. Now, Jim gets away from him at first, and he thinks that's the end of it, but it turns out that this hitchhiker is not satisfied with how things left, and he is going to come up one after another of serious attacks that will both put his life in danger, and it also sets him up to look like he might be murdering people. So it turns into a road trip from hell, and whether or not Jim survives this onslaught, that's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now, my thoughts on the film. This is a classic movie. It's been regarded as a classic. I hadn't actually seen it before I actually watched the remake, which can be a bad thing because I didn't really appreciate the remake. I thought the remake was greatly exaggerated. But I was really surprised, unpleasantly, to see that it's greatly exaggerated in this one. And that is my overall beef with the film. I don't feel it's a classic. I feel it's very far from it. And in fact, it's quite an ordinary film. Now, I know it's going to upset quite a few viewers out there of my videos, but I am brutally honest, and I will say that I feel that this film is greatly overrated. Fortunately, it does come with its positives. The positives are it's very well shot, the action sequences are very good, and there are some scenes here and there that are fairly scary. They're mildly scary, and they have the chance to really overblow into something fully scary, but I think the director doesn't quite grasp the horror aspect of this film very well. And also Rutger Hauer, who is a legendary actor, he plays John Ryder to perfection. He was much better than Sean Bean in the remake. He has a very sinister quality to him, and it's just a very bad vibe. And straight away, as soon as you see Rutger Hauer on the screen, you know something really bad is going to happen. So Rutger Hauer does a fantastic job in this movie, and I was surprised to see that the supporting cast do a reasonable job as well, and the characters were reasonably likeable also. So for that, it had some good things going for it, but unfortunately for a classic, it just has too many negatives. Now, the biggest negative I have of the film is that it takes itself a little bit too seriously. Now, I know I had this overwhelming sense that this is supposed to be a horror comedy, but I don't think it was. It's supposed to be one of the best suspenseful thrillers of all time, and I just couldn't see that because the thriller aspect of the movie wasn't sustained. It was pretty much in your face straight away. You don't really get an insight into the characters before the carnage starts to happen. I think it's within the first 5 minutes that this guy actually picks up this hitchhiker. So you don't have anything to digest, and it doesn't come out of your system, and therefore you can't really get anything out of it because it's not built up. It's straight in your face, and it's basically one action sequence after another. It's basically just horror set pieces, and it doesn't really feel like it has a lot of continuity, because when one set piece is over, it goes to talking, and then it goes to another set piece, and then it goes to talking. So it's kind of like hitting you in just little patches. So bang, pause, bang, pause, bang. It was all the way through it, it was like that. So I thought the lack of sustained pressure in the film really, it frustrated me. It really started to get on my nerves towards the end of the film, and I actually thought that was really disappointing, because I much would have rather a slow build-up and then get into the carnage, because at least you would get a feeling for the overall environment, you get a feeling for where the director wants to go, but unfortunately, lack of patience has caused this film. It comes across as more of an action sort of film instead of a horror movie. There are some very good sequences of car chases, but as I said, it does get exaggerated to the point where it becomes ridiculous. The situations that the characters are facing in the film are just so overblown that it takes you out of the realm of reality, and it kind of feels like it's paying fun of something. It's making fun of something, but you just don't know what it is. And for that, I actually felt it left a very sour taste in my mouth. Now, the soundtrack was very good. It's very 80s. So if you like 80s films, I would say give it a go. I like the ending. I will say that. But once again, it's just the exaggerated quality of the whole film, the lack of sustained terror, and it's just basically too impatient. And for that, I really don't feel that this is a classic. I feel it's greatly overrated. And as a result of all this, I'm only going to give it 2 stars. Definitely doesn't come recommended. I am a very sorry for those of you who've enjoyed the film. But for me, I just felt that as far as a classic is concerned, I build this one up to be such a great film, but it falls well short. So if I'm being brutally honest, I didn't like this movie. I thought it has a lot of problems. It is a cult classic, and I can understand why, because it does have a different sort of feeling to the film. I thought it was a movie that was better off being sort of a light-hearted, sort of funny sort of a horror film, if you know what I mean. But I just felt, I couldn't help but feel that the movie was taking itself a little bit too seriously. So 2 stars for the original, The Hitcher. I know a lot of people out there will hate me for this, but as I said, I'm going to review films as I see them, not as the majority sees them. So that's my review for The Hitcher. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.